going to try really hard to look at you and not at myself. No promises, though. Also, there is a 60% chance that this thumbnail is going to come off in this video, so I apologize all around. Those of you who may or may not be aware, I have on a cast, and thus, because I cannot get around very easily, I spend a lot of time in my room and therefore a lot of time reading. I thought it would be kind of a fun thing to kind of review and go over 4 of the spiciest novels that I've read. I think I normally talk too much. I will have an abridged version on TikTok, and I will leave the link to my TikTok below. Those of you who want something a little more in depth, here we go. Another quick little disclaimer, not child appropriate. You know, we are talking about spicy, sensual things. I'm not going to be overly graphic or anything, but the topic at hand is the topic at hand. All the nonsense out of the way, let's finally get to the book reviews. Boy, I talk a lot. Here we go. The first one is a classic example of why you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, because this one is called History's Naughty Bits, and the cover looks very, and it's not that it's a lie, but this is a non-fiction book. This tells you about historical points and gives you little synopses about a lot of historical sensual things. There's a lot of talk about the early startings of oppression of women and stuff like that, which shocks nobody. Also says all the ways that women and men got around things, got around laws, because you can't repress where there's a lot of nerve endings. Religion be darned. What I mean by that is it seems very Romeo and Juliet meets Macbeth meets Othello mash, and it just doesn't work for me. And it's like, haphazardly throwing the books towards my bed and they might fall and hit the ground. A lot of disclaimers in this video. This is a bit of a slow read at first. Get through the first few pages, because when I first started reading it, I was like, oh. So it's like that. So keep going. It gets interesting. Miss Dolby, the writer of the book, does a great job of knowing when to cut things off and give you the tidbits that you're looking for, because it is naughty bits. So you're not going to get long drawn out essays. You are going to get synopses and important bits of information, like you find out when the first notable foot fetish came around. You learn about Marcus de Sade, which is, his name is where we get words like sadomasochism from and stuff like that. So it's a very interesting read. You're not getting anything graphic or, it's not a Harlequin kind of novel. It is a non-fiction historical novel that gives you an easy read of history's more offensive bits. I get so frustrated I can't think of the words. That is Sally Thorne's The Hating Game. I like and dislike this book at the same time. I love the beginning. I love the ending. I had to trudge through the middle of it. The second novel I'm going to talk about, I warn you, I'm going to be a little ranty about. Read the book, you would see where I'm getting like the pseudo forbidden lovers kind of thing, and then there's a bunch of family drama, and it also doesn't help that the 2 main characters are lunatics. Both the main characters, Lucy and Josh, have this level of, they're certifiably insane with their stalking and their patrolling and just oddities and insyncrasies with reality. And the author she tries so hard to explain their oddities away and try to make them more relatable because of their family situations, etc., which is where the Macbeth things kind of come in. And there's a little bit of jealousy that throws into the Othello, which is where the spice kind of comes from, and a little bit of the enemy things of I can't believe you do this to me. I didn't do this to you. Come here. And it's like, okay. So there is enough spice that you're like, ooh la la, okay. But for me, the crazy just isn't balanced out enough. The relatability just isn't there. But there are some fairly spicy scenes that could intrigue someone who's just in the bored housewife situation. As far as spicy goes, this is spicy. The main character goes back and forth between two drop-dead gorgeous sexy guys, and again, nothing overly graphic. It just, you understand that she is getting the good goods. And when it comes to spice, this is just enough level of mystery, a little bit of gory. It's an action thriller, and the heroine is the heroine. I like that she's a little bit over her head, but she still does the job. Spoiler alert. You still here? You were warned. My problem with this is that the journey doesn't last long enough. You get like one chapter where they're enemies, and the main character Lucy just kind of says, "We're enemies," and that's it. And then that goes away, and then we have a weird Shakespeare forced medley. I'm over it. The next two we're going to talk about are from the Janet Evanovich Stephanie Plum series, and the first one is High Five. The best thing about this series is that each one of these is its own strong standalone novel. You don't have to read one through whatever to be caught up and understand what's going on. You get a little more information and detailed things, but you don't have to read them in order to get through the plot line. So what it is, this is supposed to be an enemies to lovers trope, which is a trope that I love. And in an enemies to lovers trope, we know and understand that, yes, these two seemingly enemies will get together at the end. And we're there for the journey, not the destination. And that's the way it is in most books. Treasury with those two. Speaking of two, the second one in the Stephanie Plum series, Two for the Dough, is the next book in the spicy ones. This is spicy. This is dicey. If you like enemies to lovers, this is the real deal. Because you are going to get these two characters who sort of kind of like each other, sort of kind of don't, and the plot line, which doesn't revolve around their intimate relationship, forces them to intertwine in and out in a very enemy, keep your enemy close kind of a way. And like I said, there's enough spice where you're like, oh, but it's not very, if you're into the, oh, I want you, but I can't have you, there's not a lot of that. It's more like, I don't care if you're naked, you need to get out of my car before I shoot you, which is a lot more exciting for me. Again, you get a lot more of that true enemies, the journey is the destination kind of a thing, which I absolutely love, and it's very exciting. So those are my 4 novels. If you've read any of them, let me know. You don't have to agree or disagree with me. That's why we share things. If you want more of an in-depth review about any of them outside of the, ooh, these are spicy, let me know. And if you want me to do a talky thing about something else that's not so spicy, let me know. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye! Was I looking at me? To have her cake and eat it too.